And I filled the chair well, trust me. All right, everyone, good afternoon. Thank you for being here. Kern Valley Healthcare District, October 10th, 2 p.m. Board meeting here. We'll call the meeting to order. Before we do anything with consent, Mark, would you like to lead us in invocation?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Ellie, would you need flag? Sure. Thank you.
For those of you who would care to join me, Heavenly Father, we just ask your presence in this meeting today to help us make smart decisions that would empower this community to have better healthcare and a better working facility going forward. Father, we just ask your blessing on this meeting in Jesus' name.
Amen. Amen.
Please join me in saluting the flag of our nation. Ready? Pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, everyone. Mission statement is on the agenda, and I will leave it there without reading it. Public comment. Have anyone from the public that wishes to be heard at this time? Seeing none. I know we need to approve agenda, and Mark, we're gonna have an item that needs to be added. You want to add that under new business on item 11?
Absolutely. This is a emergency repair for the SNF transport van.
Okay,
I'd like to add to the new business. It's kind of an emergency.
okay. But that is item 11 on new business.
And it's just to decide which bid to go with.
So what you have to do if you're going to add an agenda to the item is there has to be a motion and a second finding the item arose subsequent to the posting of the agenda
Do that.
and it requires immediate attention. After the second and after the motion and the second, then because there's only 4 of you today, it'll have to be a unanimous vote.
Again,
I didn't get that.
okay, Russ, can we get a motion to address the emergency repair on the vehicle?
Make the motion that, number one, the emergency arose after the agenda was posted.
Sir.
And what was the second part?
It requires immediate attention.
It does require immediate attention. So that's my motion.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Thank you, Jane. It's to me item. Yeah, item number 11. Okay.
That doesn't mean I agree with Ross, does it?
I understand.
Yes.
Your vote. Am I right? Your vote.
Aye.
Aye. Yes. Aye. Okay, that's 4 unanimous. Thank you, Scott.
Yep, thank you guys.
All right.
So that just adds it to the agenda, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Correct. That's adding it as item 11 under new business. Consent agenda, the following items are considered action or routine and non-controversial. Consent items have been listed as action item may be approved. This one single vote. Is there anything on here that you would like changed or at this time?
The contract reviews totally different, right?
Sorry, sir.
Contract reviews different.
Yes, sir. It's under business. Get a motion to accept the consent change.
We should, make a motion to accept the way it is.
Thank you, Gene. I'll second. Thank you, John. Austin, Biggs.
Aye.
Scott. Gene?
Yes.
Yes, and I'm a yes. Thank you. All righty, guys. Reports.
My report.
Yes, sir.
One of the big issues we've got going right now is affecting all hospitals in the country right now is obviously because of Hurricane Helene. The major plant for Baxter for production of IVs solution is in Asheville, North Carolina, which was the hardest hit area. And so their plant was damaged. And so they are currently not producing any IVs out of that facility as of about 2 days ago. that has created a huge storage or shortage issue for every hospital. I was on a conference call with the CEOs last night, talking about how this is impacting the facilities. And so we have approximately a 9 or 10 day supply of IVs at this point in time. And with no idea at this point in terms of where those IVs are going to come in. And so we did find out as of just yesterday morning, Baxter did announce that they were now back in production for some. So we have no idea yet at this point what IVs, because there was a whole list of different brands of IVs or different solutions, things like that. So Mark and I talked, Mark got with the ER doctors and with the hospitalist staff to basically reduce utilization of IV solutions where we can. Obviously, we were lucky we didn't have surgeries going at this point in time yet. And so that would have been an issue. Some of the hospitals are actually cutting back on their outpatient surgeries or ancillaries. They're, what's the word I'm talking about? They're non-emergent
Oh, right, right.
surgeries and stuff like that. So,
Outpatient stuff.
right. And so so at this point in time, like I said, we're monitoring this on a daily basis. Mark and I met with Twan, our pharmacy manager, yesterday afternoon. We've looked at our current supplies. We're going to be monitoring that on a daily basis.
One actually looked for concentrated saline so that we could create our own, and they were all gone. They were all
Everybody's,
missing.
yeah.
So everybody's basically hoarding or out or
Yeah.
just keeping their
Mass
stuff.
General Hospital in Boston, Brigham and Women's is basically only getting 40% of what they normally would get. And so forth, so down 60% on their supplies, and that's a monstrous hospital, and so forth. So it's hit everywhere. We've looked at secondary manufacturers, and while initially they were allowing people to sign up, so if they had extra supply, they would divvy it out based upon who got their thing and when. That's now been shut down primarily because they're now hoarding that to care for their customers that they had. So, and so that had created additional issues that were going on. Our belief is that by monitoring this, cutting down how we're using it and so forth, the one thing we were told just yesterday afternoon was that apparently we are going to be now back on partial distribution. I think it was for 3 cases a week. 3 cases under our normal utilization would be about
I didn't.
4 days, 5 days.
Yeah, we usually keep on hand 4 to 5 days of burn usage, it's called.
Correct.
And so
So this is a major situation.
So Tim, the
yeah.
degree of need,
Yeah.
I know nothing.
Yeah.
Right, but I know that when they put you on it, you just stay on it till you leave, basically.
Yes.
Is there always really that much need? Somebody else might need it.
It's a great point, because that's exactly what a lot of them are doing. I had a conference call with the CEOs last night, and just to find out what they're doing, that's what they're absolutely doing. They're going back and really looking at how long we really need to keep them on this stuff. One of the things they're doing is some of them are going to PO meds now, and with either Gatorade or some other liquids to kind of help that absorb better. And so forth, but they're cutting down the amount of time that they're keeping on IVs. So yeah, there's a whole host of.
there are other things we can do to rehydrate patients without going through the IV. But some of those are kind of invasive, but at the same time, they're when I was in the service, we would do those things all the time in Saudi Arabia, do stuff to mitigate some of that shortage. And so there are ways to decrease the usage, and we have employed those right now.
Cool.
So all the doctors are well aware of the situation, and any TKO drips or anything like that have been stopped. They're just hemp locked, saline locked. We are getting the antibiotics, and our pharmacy is changing people to PO antibiotics when they can. So we're doing everything we can right now to reduce the usage of that.
Is it available on the black market?
So there are.
I'm serious.
That's what
There
our
are
secondary
suggestions
manufacturer. Yeah.
There are suggestions on how we can identify price gouging.
That's what I'm getting at.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And so we are looking at those
We're not
things
gonna
too.
get caught up in a mess.
So we actually talked about that at the meeting last night. We had a conversation in-house about it as well. Making sure that if people do approach us with that kind of stuff, that we need to be in a position to report that. Primarily because that is totally illegal, especially in these emergency
Right,
circumstances. And so that has not happened. Like I said, we did put our name, I think, on the list. But like I said, I think what we've heard after that was that don't anticipate anything out of that primarily.
So one of the other comments they're we're making is you can, usually people tap into, civilian sector taps into the military. Sometimes they have storage of supplies and things. We haven't done that yet. We were told to contact the MOAC in Kern County to see if they have any extra stores and things.
We're going to be doing that today. So
It's military.
So the closest military we have obviously is China Lake, but anybody, the MOAC is the California avenue to address those kinds of
Shortages.
things, the shortages, yeah.
circumstance.
So I doubt if the military has stores of saline solution in a bunker somewhere.
And a lot of them probably are going to be held back for the injuries and stuff from the hurricanes and stuff anyway.
Exactly right. They're gonna
Yeah.
actually funnel those extra stores to the needed areas. So
They could need it soon too, so it's
that's very true.
crazy. It's absolutely crazy.
So it's a tough time, especially with two hurricanes hitting Florida.
Yeah. And I think it's really pointed out the fact that they really need to distribute their distribution centers out further away from each other and stuff like that. Because here you got, this one was, I think, responsible for 60 or 7% of all IVs
In the
country,
world.
or in the world.
They are the largest producer of high volume IVs in the world. Baxter and Asheville, North Carolina.
And so this, like I said, luckily the plant was totally destroyed. They had water damage in there. They had a third-party company in there that was actually doing industrial cleaning. They apparently got that done. And so now they're in the process of trying to wait and reestablish the processes. One of the things that hampered that was there's a river that separates them from where their employees live. That bridge was washed out. So they came in a couple of days, built a temporary bridge to get them there. They're in the process now of building a permanent replacement for the other bridge, which they'll have up in a couple of weeks. And we're chatting about our situation across the lake. Yeah, so they're on it big time, trying to get that back open again. I know they reached out to their plants down in Mexico to try to double their production down there and so forth. And like I said, they just concentrated all of the stuff into one place because it was easier for them to do it in bulk. And so now we pay for that action. So there's gonna be, yeah.
The weed Mexico versus weed North Carolina. Normally when I'm here.
Yeah.
I speak sort of more southern whenever I get 90 here.
Yeah.
Now, when I speak Mexican, it's like,
It's a good question.
We'll let you know if we get any. We'll call you, maybe try that out and see if that works. So anyway, this just came up this week and it's been a huge thing that we've been focused on and just working with the hospital association as well, trying to get our name on the list. Yeah. A little below.
Traffic keepers are trying to intervene.
Heard it, they were before, so. They just didn't know it was a meeting, I guess. But anyway, so we're trying to get our hands on this. I think we've got, our pharmacy believes they maintain it and manage it. And we'll see every day. Like I said, we were supposed to get, he said we were getting 9 units today. And I asked him last night, I said, that 9 cases? No, 9 bags. I said, not helping. Like I said, I think that the plans that Mark's put in place, working with the medical staff and with the nursing staff, I think are going to have the best solutions for us as we go forward with this. And then, like I said, now that we know that we've been told that they're going to gradually begin turning some of that back on for us. So we'll just manage that as best we can with the actions that we're taking here, plus with the supply we get. Juan thinks that we'll be fine. We can ride this out for a couple months until they get it fully operational again. So, but That was, yeah, an unexpected one. And then, like I said, we know there's other issues that are gonna happen with Florida that's getting hit because there's a lot of distribution sites down there. So we don't know yet what those ramifications may be for supplies and stuff like that. So
I wouldn't be going to Walt Disney World anytime soon.
I just reading at 2 locations and had already made the comment that they were not affected.
good. That's it. Yeah, 'cause that's what everybody's worried about, especially with 2 of the size hurricanes that hit there.
Yeah.
Pretty bad. Just a quick update on some of the legislation. Obviously, the governor had till September 30th to sign off on any bills that had passed. Several frustrations, I think, for the hospital association and a lot of the hospitals. Some of the seismic bills that were on there, which got passed, I think it was 1432, which would have given 5 years additional time for hospitals to get their seismic stuff up and going, plus an additional couple of years beyond it if need was there. It went through with absolutely no votes in the legislature, through both houses or whatever. Got to the governor's desk and he vetoed it.
Sure, why?
It was a political issue because of other things that he wanted that hospital association is challenging him.
He stuck them.
Part of this was, I brought this up before, was the issue where he was trying to take money out of the one of the funding means that we get through IGT and those kinds of things. So, because he wanted to keep it in the general fund instead of passing it on to the hospitals. So they agreed that they were doing a public initiative to kind of force the issue. And so, because
We
again,
would
that's
rather
another
have
one
the
to
money, right?
What's that?
We would rather have the money.
Sure, absolutely, absolutely. And so, so anyway, a lot of those ones that we were hoping that we were going to get through were vetoed. There was one I think I brought before, which was like 1423, that was associated with creating this cost-based Medi-Cal for the critical access hospitals and so forth. That ultimately was vetoed, even though the bill was changed to not do that, but to create up a working committee for the legislature to come up with ideas and solutions towards the future, and that got shut down as well. So I didn't want to talk about it. So some other things, there was one I think I brought up before that was going to require hospitals to put in metal detectors in their primary entrances for the ER, the main hospital entrance and labor and delivery. That one he passed. There was a modification made for rural hospitals, so that kind of excluded us just because of cost issues and so forth. There were some issues associated with behavioral health, this whole issue of expanding the 5150s to include substance abuse and those kinds of things beyond mental health issues, which is just basically that one got signed. It's now going to come back on the hospitals. So just a whole host of things. It's, I think there was something I sent out to everybody a couple of weeks ago with regards to the legislative things, and everything was green, that it was positive things. Most of those got returned by the governor. So anyway, there was bills in there, a couple of bills associated with creating baccalaureate degree programs for RNs in 10 community hospital districts around the state. That got vetoed, which we're going like, why? I mean, this makes perfect sense. We've got a nursing shortage going on. We're trying to create more avenues for getting nurses that we produce our own, and that doesn't get funded. So,
Is there any chance that the legislature can do a veto override? I know it's 2/3.
that issue came up, well, like I said, on the seismic one alone, again, no votes on either side. There is no motion to try and override it. So that we are all a little upset about. Why do you guys come out, prove this thing without a single negative response, and now you won't challenge the governor on this one, but votes against it. So a little disheartening.
Bipartisan.
It was, yeah, bipartisan. Anyway, so yeah, that's been a huge issue. And if, I guess we're later. send out a quick update to this in terms of what got approved or not. Yeah, so now the plans are, where do we go from here? Where do we go from here? I think CHA's been frustrated to death with the seismic issues and trying to come up with something to work. And here, everybody was excited because we finally had legislative support for something finally, wasn't being challenged by the unions, and so forth. And that got overturned. So we'll just keep trying. So and a lot of the comments at the meeting last night, because again, I think a lot of them, I know Memorial, I think he was extremely upset about that. It was primarily because it's like, what do we do now? You know, he's looking at $450 million expansion that he's got to do. Hopefully some of this stuff was going to give them more time and stuff like that. So, and they're basically saying, no, you're still on the 2030 timeline right now. There was one bill, which was, I think, S869, which was for certain critical access hospitals, rural hospitals and district hospitals, who could get an additional 3 years, plus a second 2 years addition beyond that, if they had certain financial difficulties going on. That one, the governor did group. So we happen to fall into that group, so which is good. Like I said, but again, that's if we got up to the end and we weren't finished, stuff like that. So those monies can still be available.
So we need to try to lose money if we can.
Well, like I said, you know, the one big conversation that we've been having is what's going to happen with FEMA right now. You know, we're still waiting on that. And now you've got the government coming out and saying they don't have enough money in FEMA to handle all this stuff. Is that going to lose our money from that? Is it going to put our money on hold until they get other monies released or whatever? So we don't know.
Those claims aren't actually true.
Which ones?
The one,
Well, they said they had enough to
They
do
don't have-
Helene, but now they don't have enough to do this one.
yeah,
And they
that's,
didn't have enough staff.
that's not factual. Yeah, it was attributed to Mayorkas. He didn't say it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, I haven't heard that.
It's bullshit.
Well, the government just prints more money. That's all right.
Yeah.
So I don't know how they could ever run out of it.
Don't have to print it anymore. It's all digital.
That's true. So, but anyway, we're still kind of waiting to hear. We've not heard anything one way or another from anybody at FEMA. So we're obviously continuing on as that we're still in the mix and the thing is still moving forward. We had some issues this last week, last 2 weeks ago with our transfer switch, the one that we put in back here. Staff was testing that and threw the switch to do our monthly test on the switch's ability to transfer the power over to our generators. Well, it switched over to the generator, but when I went to turn it off, the switch broke. I mean, literally broke apart, and so forth. So we were in a situation where we had to go through the weekend of running our generator all weekend. Plus we're on street power because of the issue, we couldn't turn that off. So we had to run on that. And then while we still had street power going on here. So we finally got that switch replaced. Then we lost the generator itself, the rental one that we got. And apparently there was some kind of, Bob can explain it better than I can.
It was it's one of the new high-tech generators that has depth injection like your pickup truck does. And the depth injector has malfunctioned and dumped a whole bunch into the exhaust system. So therefore it sensed the issue and shut itself off and there was no resetting. And that was on a Saturday morning, 4:30. So I was in here with my electrician. We wired back around, back onto normal power manually.
Bypass switch.
Because the ER was dark. It's 90% e-power.
So we can't get that generator in fast enough, you know. And as I think I said last time, after our conversations with Southern California Edison, you know, they basically said, we're not going to provide generators for you anymore. You know, it really is up to the hospitals and other businesses to provide their backup materials that they need. They were just doing that for us. But I think, you know, because this was happening so frequently that they were looking for these PSPSs, that they finally just said, no, you guys have to come up with a solution for that. So anyway, and then they know we're in the process of getting ours. It's just a question of when at this point in time. Bob's got some equipment coming in that's actually going to help with some of that installation of that stuff for other parts of the hospital. And he can chat about that in his report. But Yeah, we're still waiting for stuff to come through. Some of the parts are coming through, others we're still waiting on. But anyway, so yeah, we continue to have some issues there. And it's always on a weekend or after hours or, whatever. Never happens at the beginning of the week or when everybody's around. So, been working with Good Samaritan Hospital that we're looking at some opportunities to provide behavioral health services up here. There was two things that started. One was on that piece of property that Ross made me aware of last time. I had reached out to them, met with the couple that own the property, and they're interested in giving that to us still. They wanted this to be in place they wanted to go through either a nonprofit or a governmental agency. They didn't want to go for any for-profit entity or whatever. And so, and that they wanted it protected for at least 25 years. So if they gift it, that's one of the conditions of the gift that, and if you can't meet that, then it goes back to them. So shared with them that obviously we would be able to meet that requirement and so forth. One of the things, Good Sam Hospital is working on a series of grants for putting in behavioral health programs, outpatient clinics and things like that. So I reached out to them to see if maybe we could join in on that with them. They're very much interested in working with us to do something like that. They even have the ability, if need be, to put in a primary care site over there on that side, which was very appealing to these folks, primarily because the gentleman's wife was a former, she's a retired pediatric intensive care doctor, and so forth. So she was really happy that we were coming along with a medical purpose. That was very near and dear to them. So we're working on that is one possibility. They've got a grant that's going to be hopefully submitted in November sometime. So when we get more of the details, we'll bring that back to the board so we can talk about that to see if that's something we want to pursue. One of the things the grant would require would be if we did put buildings or structures over there, it's got to be in place for at least 30 years as one of the grant requirements. So, because they want to make sure when they give that bundle of money that it's not going away in 2 months or a year or something like that. So, by that we're working on as well. The other thing that Good Sam reached out to us about was they're in the process right now of creating a family practice residency program. And so one of the requirements for these residency programs is they must have a rural site that they can actually have their residents pass through. And so they reached out to us to be that rural site to them. And so we're working on that. I've got the grant application or the application for the residency program. We're doing that right now. I think we'll have to go over it with Scott as well.
Kim,
Yes.
is that California money or government? What?
I don't know where
Where's all
their
these
funding's like. Most of their stuff is coming through from the state.
Okay,
And so-
because the state's gonna tighten up.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. But again, but because of the physician shortages, that money is still flowing. So they've got grant money to do this. So the resident would basically rotate through here. They would do a stint in the clinic. They would do a stint in ER, on acute unit, and potentially SNF as well. So those are all things that we could use. The nice part about it is obviously we're helping to train these people that we have access to hopefully recruit them afterwards. And so that's one of the reasons why she was excited about doing that, because she knows it's been really hard to get anybody up here as well. And so so that's another thing we're working on right now. As I get a little bit more information on that, we'll bring it back to everybody for their thoughts and ideas. One of the things we're looking at right now is the state has moved up the minimum wage process. I told you, I think last time, that they had looked like they were going to push it back to January, after January, to implement the minimum wage increase. That's, I believe, not going to happen sometime either later in October or early November. So what's happening there is we're looking at a significant increase in the cost for our security service. So I'm been working with our team here, trying to put together a proposal to take on security ourselves again. We have a number of people we know that would be interested in coming to work for us if we do that. And so we're working through right now. We're putting the job descriptions together. Our plan is to bring those back to the board at board PMP in 2 weeks when we have that meeting. So what we would like to do is to start advertising for the positions that we're going to have positions, if we can start at least collecting resumes and those kinds of things. So when we get that position to go ahead, we've already got enough to just kick that in pretty quickly. So they were looking to increase our hourly rate by about $7 an hour for everybody, from $26 up to $33 an hour. And I'm going, because they're assuming that we were going to $28, you know, or $25 an hour like the other hospitals. And I said, we're only going up to 18, you know, but he said, no, it's where I'm taking it. So we're basically saying, no, we can save some money by doing this ourselves. We'll get some trained people that are doing this, and we'll let that out to the community as well. We know there's some other folks out there who would make that requirement. So that's one thing I'm working on. So I think it provides us the ability to do it. We've talked about it internally about whether or not we really need to continue to doing that during the day with people that we've got here. There's a feeling that we can cut back some of that expense. And so that's what we're doing. So
What our insurance covers?
we were doing it before. We've always been doing it before.
Okay, and they knew about it.
Yes, yeah. So anyway, we're working on that right now. Like I said, now that they've actually moved up the implementation of that minimum wage, we're kind of trying to move quickly to get ahead of that. So get this thing going pretty quickly here. So and I'll bring it back. Like I said, we'll talk about it at board PMP on the details on that. So let me think here. We're talking about the property. We bring in our radiographic equipment that we have in the hospital is reaching end of life. We're having some issues with that. Tables starting to go. And so I had Stuart reach out to them to get us a new bid for what it would cost to replace that equipment with GE. We did that obviously because of the fact we've been pretty much lifelong GE equipment purchasers. We've got some substantial discounts that came. That's almost a 33% discount on the cost for what that new equipment would be. I'm asking him to go out and get a couple of other bids, obviously, so we have that to compare against. But this would be a substantial improvement to the equipment we have. So my plan is to bring that back for finance committee. We have that next time. So it's not immediate that happened today, but just wanted to let you know that'll be coming down the pike.
We'll need to add to that the cost of our index lines and.
There's no construction associated with it, but yeah, we'll probably, there'll still be some
equipment in the building that has to.
right that I'm aware of, but they're just saying there's no construction cost per se.
No, there should be.
Yeah. So that's part of.
Would they actually install the new equipment?
Yes.
Is that part of?
Yes. Yep. So that's my report for right now.
You got a question, if I could.
Yeah.
We missed a couple of meetings, the building planning.
Yeah.
As time goes by, we get busier. And we need a backup for your secretary. Desperate.
Yeah.
Are we looking at that?
We are talking about doing that, and with again, Heidi and I have not had a chance to sit down.
No reflection on her performance.
No, absolutely not.
But I mean, she's awesome, but
Yeah.
We can't be without a backup. So I can't have a computer with no backup on it.
Exactly. No, we understand that completely. That's one of the reasons why we put all this stuff back into the board meeting today so that we didn't fall behind on that. So, it's just, stuff happens.
But that's
Yeah, critical
that's
positions.
top priority, right? That's something you're not talking about. There's
Yeah,
things that we talk about that
Right.
10 years ago, I say, I'm still working on it.
Yeah.
But that's got a little bit of a priority.
Yeah.
Who am I talking to?
Me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
So,
Cool.
understood.
Question, sir?
Just a quick question, Tim. We talked a little bit about last meeting about the clinic, possibly utilizing that for like the stuff that we're trying to do, like with the VA and whatnot. Gary and Carrie's parents, so they
Yeah.
want to fundraise on Veterans Day. And it's kind of a combination with their behavioral health stuff with KRV Bridge Connection, as well as the veterans. I didn't know if that might be an option to maybe take the mobile clinic down there. I know it's kind of right around the corner, but
Yeah, I'll have to get with Greg. I mean, yeah, we do take that out. I mean, she is still using it with the school
okay.
and so forth. Lisa Wiley takes that over.
Where's it gonna be held?
The Bridge Connection building,
The old
used to be
Century 21.
the old Century 21 building on Isabel Boulevard.
Yeah, I mean, we can take it wherever. Yeah, I mean, but like I said, yeah, this is one of the reasons. Matter of fact, when the dam came up, they did a tour of the hospital. The one thing that they were most impressed with was that mobile clinic.
The VA said the same thing.
Huge opportunities for using that,
Yeah.
getting more use out of it. So
Yeah.
I'm more than happy to talk to them about what their thoughts are
Okay.
and so forth and see. So that'd be great.
And Gary also told me that exchange program that they're going to have. The VA is going to come back and they want to have a sit-down meeting with
Right.
us again.
Good. Good.
By next week.
Yeah, I know that breakfast got canceled and stuff like that. So.
Yeah. So,
Good, good.
Had a young lady yesterday at Chamber. Want to reach out to us in regards to seeing if we have. There.
Yeah,
He's going to reach.
yeah, I'm gonna give you some more information about who she is, more, which is worse. Okay, great.
Business having
Hey,
none.
Fred,
Sir,
can I make a comment?
please.
The discussion on the VA clinic brought this up.
Yeah.
You know, we haven't been able to actually identify the things that we're going to provide to them or they want from us.
Right.
If, for this upcoming meeting, can you basically put a list in black and white and say, here's what we're able to do?
Right.
Which of these do you want?
Right.
And that way, from that, maybe an agreement can actually be reached.
Right. Well, I think that's kind of where we're at, because like I said, you know, we had that conversation, we actually sat down, we talked about what we can provide. Because again, initially, 2 meetings ago, we were still working from the scenario that they wanted to bring their own people up and run it up here. And we're going like, why would you do that? Because now you're taking it away from another site. So, and they finally agreed that made a whole lot of sense. And so, but a lot of it came down to our capacity. And so that's what I need to sit down with Greg and identify what are our capacities for doing that. You know, that's been an issue for us as it relates to mobile clinic and you know,
Sure.
having somebody that can go out and be on that for events and stuff like this.
And the point of contact for their side has changed 3 different.
3 or 4 times.
Yeah.
So
That's what I'm,
Creates a.
it's been frustrating.
if you could walk away from that meeting with, you know, the
Something.
half a dozen things that we're going to be able to move forward on, maybe it'll help move this forward.
Sure. Sure. So yeah, I'll be happy to put something together. I can work with John on that.
Walk into that meeting with it. Here.
Just to prove this, right? Take it back and give me a contract. So, yeah.
So one of the things the VA has a rule, they get X amount of dollars per year to do certain things, even smaller departments.
Yeah.
They don't use it, they lose it. Next year, it's what they spent. And so they're not likely to make much changes where they're not paying us, you know what I mean? So they get their own doctors, they start paying us, they lose that, as it comes from a different bucket. That's why I'm saying you gotta look at
Yeah.
the whole picture, not what we can do, which is wonderful, but how we can get them to want to do it.
Right. Well, this is one of the reasons, like I said, for reaching out with Good Sam, because obviously they have a huge psychiatric capability down there. They've got like 30 psychiatrists that work for them and they're doing all kinds of programs out in the community. They've got the homeless, they call them street medicine programs that they've got going on. They're funding it in numerous places around Kern County. And so, like I said, as Mark and I talked, is, you know, the bottom line is we know we would love to be able to do that, but there are some things we just can't do ourselves because it's just not what we do. I mean, we don't have those employees here, that expertise in house. So if there's ways for us to partner for doing this stuff, then it makes sense for us.
Yeah.
So I'd rather have my foot in the door with them than not have it in it at all. And then be able to provide for the community because, you know, I think it was when I first came here, the whole issue was, I know we can't provide everything, I said, but if we can certainly help facilitate making some of this stuff happen for the community, then the community's better off. And we've served them. So
And
that's
to your point, Gene, the more the military spends, the more they get next year.
Yeah, right.
So
Oh,
that's-
yeah,
But
they
it's
want to
not
spend it. Right?
it's what they spend for their employees. They're not counting us as employees. So it's taken away.
I see.
You gotta look at exactly what's happening.
Right.
Yeah.
So, and as far as those 30 psychiatrists, they pretty much are fulfilled working with me. Trying
Half of it.
And they need more.
Thank you. Okay, old business under F is none. G, new business. John, unaudited, financial?
Yes. Amy has a presentation of issues we have identified, or we can just take questions on, if you guys have questions, whichever you prefer.
Didn't have our meeting.
I've got a question. And
10 years
this is, the other guys don't have this, or do they?
No, I just gave it to you. You asked.
Okay, it's our other thing, and Russ and I were discussing this exchange today. And if you show a net profit of 28,000, net income, 28,000 for the year for the auxiliary. And where do you show the money that we're giving to the hospital?
76,000, it's in there.
How's it listed? Where do you put it? I mean, show its income. Where does that show as income?
We show a net number on our financial statements here. It's not gross, so we just net it down. That's what's shown here. I mean, it's such a small percentage of this, it's basically immaterial to the financial statements as a whole. We can break it out every quarter, like I said. I can show you something
Yeah,
like that.
If
Yeah,
you
no
could
problem.
make it more, because when you give the money to the hospital, it gets confusing on how to handle it. Because for our net profit, we could rent the building and not be involved in it.
That
More
at
than
76,000,
20,000.
then you're at 100,000.
Yeah, right.
So that's.
Still
that
can almost
changes
rent
things.
it for that.
I don't know if the rent would go for there. but,
Okay. Well,
Well, we own the building, so.
On the building.
yeah, oh, yeah. And so, it's not been showing up on financials.
Yeah, primarily because it's been an add-on. So like I said, the money is actually the hospital. Because of the way that thing is set up, it's almost like a
But
department.
we
of the
gotta account
hospital.
for it. We have,
But it's accounted for because like I said, they net it out. They have the financial terms of everything.
Where's it built into, John?
It's built into other revenues.
Standard revenue that are in.
Yeah, other revenues. The net
Is
number.
there any way?
You can break it out if you want.
A separate line item.
yeah, it's
You can
pretty
break it out, no
important,
problem.
because it's $10,000 a month. And our total profit right
Chunk of
now is
change.
Oh, I agree. Yeah, I agree. We can break it out, and just put it in a separate line item.
Yeah,
Yeah,
problem.
sure do
that
that.
way there, everyone knows
We
where
know.
it's at.
Okay. And I can give you a little breakdown of it every quarter or so, every month, even if you want to.
That'd be
It's not a
great.
big deal. Get
Maybe
the,
they still do work
statements.
on it. Where's Deborah?
Well, she's over there.
Oh, there, she's,
She's hiding behind the paper.
you're doing a great job down there, you know. Okay, thank you.
No problem. Would you like us to go over the issues, or you guys want to ask questions?
No, go right
Have
ahead.
it, Amy.
I'm turning over to Amy.
So
That's not
we're just
right.
going line by. Right,
Go
so
ahead, Devlin. All you.
we'll go with the stats on page 14. Looking at line 157, the acute discharges are higher than budget for the month of August. I know we have talked also about adding in the previous month column, and I still need to work on doing that, so it's nice to have in between the budget and actual, the previous. Line 14, our total patient days, we are right on with the budget at 144, and that is higher than the previous month of July at 130. On line 15, our average length of stay for August was 2.9, and our prior year was 4.0. We're looking at now line 25, our long-term care for August was 1,456 compared to our budget of 1,437 with 19 increase. Emergency room stats, 29. Our ER visits admitted, August was 27. July was 25 versus the budget of 26. Line 30, ER visits discharged, we're at 414 for the month of August. July was 408, and we're quite a bit over budget of 300. Line 32, August was 728 total ER visits compared to the previous month of 739. For our line 37, the clinic visits, there was a drop from July from 1,390 to 1,244, 146 visits drop. But we are still, sorry, I'm just going to drop right down to the retail pharmacy scripts on line 42. In August, we're 4,926 compared to July at 3,989. And if you look at the year to date, from the prior year, August 23, we were at 5,334. And now our actual year to date for August is 8,915. If there's anything else on that, I'm going to skip over to page 16. We're going to look at cash and cash equivalents. You're going to see a drop of 1,755,000. A lot of this has to do with timing. In the month of August, we had 3 payrolls, one on the 2nd, 16th, and 30th. So that makes a big difference to that. Our account, line 4, gross patient account receivable, went up by 426,000. We added 42,000 to line 10 for prepaid expenses. But there's a journal entry to expense that to different departments. So that's why you'll see the variance of 35,000. On line 15, this is where it says auxiliary cash. The revenue from auxiliary for the month of August was $11,884. Line 17, this is part of our, on 8/1, we paid our current portion for the launch of First Foundation.
It's another reason for the decrease in cash. We paid 440,000 on our bonds. Every 6 months we pay that.
In August. For property, plant, and equipment, line 24, building and building improvements. There's an increase of 17,100. This is the retail pharmacy, their air conditioning units. Under equipment, we add a transport stretcher, that's 3,817. Construction in progress. We ended up with Twin Power Systems for 217,000, Greenbow Design 4,698, and JTS Construction for 35,976. Nothing on that page. On page 17, accounts payable. You're going to see an increase in the accounts payable of $213,000. Partially, we're pretty close to July where we were, but we did add the Twin Power for $260,000. That makes up a chunk of that. Our true payroll is a variance because in July we had an accrual of 18 days versus a 7-day accrual, or sorry, 7-day accrual.
That's just based on when the payroll falls to the month.
Right.
And 12, this is part of the paying our current portion for the bond too. I have on page 17. And do you want to discuss the gross patient revenue?
I'd like to ask a question. I think we were sort of about there. Russ was sharing some figures at the exchange cup today. And he says we're netting roughly 100,000, 120 a month. Is that our year? 120 a year, Russ? Is that your number?
120 a month,
Month.
A
about.
month?
And
Okay,
and that's
okay.
true so far.
Okay,
Just depends. Some of it's timing, some of it's for instance, September is probably gonna be a little bit worse because our revenues are down a little bit because our volumes are down.
How much of that is our investment from the 12 million? Is it 400,000 roughly?
76,000 a month
Okay, so,
is our investment.
so,
You can see
so
that
if-
down here at the bottom there.
so we would be reduced, we're making 120, we're gonna reduce by 76. So the figures doesn't work that way. We won't have the income. We're talking about spending the money for the construction.
Right.
So we won't have that income of the investment of that. So really, our income will be like 30,000 a month.
Planning on increasing revenue, so. it's
Yeah,
revenue,
yeah, well,
Everything goes up.
I know, we're working on that.
Right, and by that time, we probably will have that accomplished.
Okay, I just wanted to,
Right, and then you've also got the income for property taxes too, so we're about break even from operations.
property tax hasn't gone up, has it?
No, it's still the same, it's the same.
Thank you.
Well, and then we have our net income is a little bit higher than budget because of our clinic revenues up due to really the visits were about the same. It's just that we have more acute patients, so we're getting more revenue for those two particular patients. Our outpatient revenue is up due to the ER. Our ER visits are up over budget and over prior year.
How quick will the turnaround? And we were losing some visits because of the doctor turnover. The new doctor's still there. Like, he's an awesome doctor. I like to see him. He could help me even. I mean, so he's gotta be good.
Right.
And so when will we see? I mean,
I think we've already seen it, but this, like I said, this next month, September, we just ended, went down a little bit. So it's all in just demand. Yeah. Timing and when people need it, and then it's hard to get people in there. It's come.
that's been a moneymaker for some.
Oh, it's
really good. Okay, thank you.
Let's see, our expenses, let's see, everything's pretty much under budget except for supply expense, which is being driven by the pharmacy. As their demand goes, our volume goes up, so does the expense. Kind of offsets each other, but we still make a profit there. Then also, we had a little bit of utilities are very high right now. Our electricity is just expenses going crazy right now. I don't know if it's probably gonna level off as it gets cooler. We use a lot of the AC and things like that, but it'll,
Drop by 20,000.
oh, that's good.
That helps.
Yeah, the electricity is very high through the summer, drops in the winter, but we budgeted a flat rate.
Right. We just budgeted and divided by 12. I mean,
Is there any way we could use one of those Tesla batteries down the street down there at the pharmacy or request another one?
What we talked about doing was hopefully reallocate, when this building goes away, we have the one outside here, was to reallocate that hopefully down there. This one came from the county, so we have to get their permission to do that, but that was the thought, was to have that one down there as a backup event.
Then you're talking about the backup generator.
Yep.
I was talking about the Tesla batteries.
Yeah, I don't know.
Well,
We have to cost that
We
out.
have to have a very high-tech Tesla battery system that will
Yeah.
keep shade during the summer months, which is what our system here does on the hospital. 60% of our power starting in the afternoon comes off the batteries so that we don't pay the high rates of the,
That's available in every household.
we would have to invest in some rather large Tesla battery packs for down there.
Well, what I'm asking is, could we get them to donate? Or would it be cost effective to take one of them down there?
No, we can't take them down.
Okay,
Yeah, these are all wired together.
Okay, that's about it for the current month. And if you look at the year to date, we are pretty consistent. All of the variances of where we're over budget are pretty much the same in utilities and in supply expense. Everything else is pretty close to budget. So that's a good thing. Our revenue is a little bit higher. In July and August, we've had some good revenues. We had some good volumes, but like I said, September went down a little bit. So we'll see that reflected in the next month's board meeting. Other than that, that's about it for the financials. I think. Anybody has any questions?
I just had
Yeah.
a question. In your financial report on page 23, you talked about the AR days still being a little too high, a little bit 100. I was just curious, maybe does that have anything to do with I know about a year ago, we had some issues with the revenue cycle system. They were cleaning things up from several fiscal years ago. Is that still kind of a problem or is it?
It is
Okay.
48 hours old. We're having problems with getting things authorized and paid. In September, it's gone down a lot, which it's going to be about 90 days in September because we collected some things. We've worked out some, we've got some good connections with some of our payers now. We can talk to them directly and get paid. But another thing is a lot of it's in the long-term care section. And we've got people moving from insurance and back again. So we've got a lot of pointing on who's going to pay it, either the IPA pays or the, so now we worked something out with
FMC.
We've got a lady there who's gonna look at everything that's transferred to the IPAs, and she's gonna look at every single one of those. And we are just working directly with these plans now to try to get paid more quickly. They're not, we're looking at our contracts and they're not paying according to contract either. For instance, QualCare is paying us 45 business days after they receive the claim. It's supposed to be paid 30 to 45 days, not business days, regular days, every day, calendar days. So we need to get them to adhere to the contract, and that'll bring our AR down pretty quick. But it's already starting to go down.
I have a meeting with Paul Care Management next Friday. I'd asked John to go, but John's just getting back from out of town, so I'm gonna go down and do that. But they've given me a list of all the issues that we have with Paul Care. So we'll be talking about those. They want to establish a working relationship with us to make things more smooth.
That's a big percentage of business.
Right.
Yeah.
Long-term care is, I mean, that's a lot. It's just, we're having trouble with the authorizations. You gotta get TARs for Medi-Cal. And some of these patients go from Medi-Cal to managed Medi-Cal and then back again. And it's a moving target to try to get paid because we're over the center. They like to do that because it confuses us. We're getting it figured out. And like I said, in September, the AR went down to about 32 million. Our days are going down to about 90, which is a good direction. And we'll continue to go down as we can, as we get these things figured out.
Is this, the arrangement with BFMC, is that a capitation contract or a fee for service? You remember that, don't you, Heidi, that nightmare that we had with BFMC?
There's not much capitation. Unfortunately, there's.
Can I ask you a question about Scott?
Good work.
He's here and we're paying him. Do we only pay him when he's talking or do we pay him when he's sitting there?
Heard you by the word. Very expensive. Very.
You get it. That's some money.
Don't ask questions.
By the syllable, not even the word, it's by the syllable. Don't ask me complex questions.
Any questions for John?
Thanks, John.
Thank you, John. Thank you.
I'll move to approve the monthly holiday funding statement.
Leave it file, yeah.
Second.
I'll second.
Shirley?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Yes. To contract reviews. Good question.
Oh, yeah, I need that.
Yes, sorry, give me a second. Yeah, Bob.
I have a comment. I was asking the question, but I think we had Delta Liquid Energy because it hasn't built. It had their tank. We switched that over to Kern River, so I don't think we need a contract.
We do. Well,
What-
okay. The
what do we get from Delta
apartment, no, the apartments down here. Who does that? Is it still Amerigas?
I do not know who does the apartments because I,
They're on the meter, they're on meters
so
and,
do we pay that? Do we pay the bill for the propane on the apartments? It's Americans.
okay, that's the only one. So that was my question was Delta Gas, what's Delta doing on you?
My knowledge, we only had the one tank on the admin bill.
It was one tank, but I don't remember how long ago.
Right. We changed.
We swapped it out 6-8 months ago.
So that was my question. Thank you for,
Yes, I just,
it shouldn't be on there.
So we don't need that
No.
contract?
don't believe so.
So we got 30-day written notice to get rid of it. Okay. Let's look into that. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief.
That was, I'm sorry.
No, you're perfect.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, that's it.
Let me just do an action to just remove.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll make that motion to approve and remove item A, Delta.
That's Scott. Second.
Second.
Thank you, Ron. Need your vote?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
Now, can I back up one more thing on here?
Please, go.
Okay. Local page phone book ads. Who on earth would be spending money to do?
Do we even have a local phone?
Who's Debbie? Are you the one?
I thought that was council. I'll have to look into that. I think it's that little phone book, but,
Surely we wouldn't be paying for that. There-
It doesn't have a cost associated with it either.
So let me just say something about these contract rules. This is more a compliance measure for you guys. These contracts don't have to be renewed every year. There are some that do, but most of these are just to remind you, you have these contracts and this is the anniversary date. And so if questions come up, like with Delta Liquid or the phone book, you can ask those questions. But there are contracts that have been canceled that you'll probably be taking off. And then there are contracts that might be 10 years long. You don't renew every year. They're just 10-year contracts. They're on here more kind of as a compliance measure, so you're aware of them.
These people are pretty slick about getting you to renew it, and it's worthless. I mean,
But if it's already been canceled,
yeah, I'm
Yeah.
not sure. That was my question. We need to deal with it. Okay, that was it. Thank you.
Project update. Finish today.
Page 25. Anyway, so on the master plan, we're just waiting on FEMA. They did come out, as I commented here, they came out for an actual site visit. It was a person looking at the building as to whether the building needed to be considered to be a heritage type building or not. And or to whether there might need to be an artifact. So walked it all, spent half a day. They didn't find any Indian artifacts. They said they would probably make a recommendation that if we are going to say on the lot behind the hospital, make it a construction site and level it with a tractor, clean it up for a construction laydown site, that they have somebody here from the local Indian tribe and a geologist or whatever to keep an eye on things to make sure we don't uncover something. But they said that would probably be their only recommendation. They also, the other person said that she's not going to recommend that this building needs to be on a historical register because of its age. This doesn't fit the requirements. So that was the outcome of that walkthrough with FEMA. So now we're just on. They said they told me their recommendations would probably go in, get finalized and go into FEMA by around the 1st of November. And so then it will be in the next stages of looking at it as far as approval. So we are still on track at this point for hopefully getting, there's been nothing come up that is going to, even hurricanes, it's a different funding stream out of FEMA. So the monies are already set aside for the BRIC funding for that particular year. So they should have the money. It's just a matter of they're very slowly going through the steps and processes. So that's where we're at on the master plan and FEMA grant. We do have.
I get a question on that. Now, everything you're saying, we're never getting anything from FEMA. Now, you're saying that they've got that 2021 or 2 money sort of frozen back there. And they don't even know how much they're really going to be spending. So I got a question on how the hell they could know that.
They have a pool of money that was approved for that fiscal year.
I understand what you're saying. I'd like to see that somewhere or get them to say, hey, you're still there. We're going to have your 30 million.
I think it's available on the website.
Tim
And we
and I.
are available on the website.
So Tim and I were questioning that a few weeks back. We went on the website and our project was not listed. So I contacted them and they said that their website was corrupted and a whole bunch of the projects weren't on there that are on there. And they assured me that our project is still on there and still under consideration for who.
Are they going to did they say that we're going to uncorrupt it?
You have to understand, I was dealing with the consultants.
We're dealing with the state
that
people.
were working with us on it and not directly with FEMA. but they stated that FEMA had said their site was corrupted. They did not make a statement as to when FEMA would get their website cleaned up.
We'll be checking back on the website ourselves, just to take a
We're
look at it
checking it
periodically,
every
make sure it's still
Did you
there.
bring that anything back to the
Yeah,
meeting?
absolutely.
It's not like I can call a phone number for FEMA and just talk to somebody.
Can't.
And maybe after the election, you
We
can.
might be able to prevent this phone.
It's kind of like trying to get a hold of Southern Cal Edison. Trying to talk to a person.
Let's do it online. You'll be fine.
Anyway, all right, so that's where we're at on a master plan. We do need to keep in mind that our permit, approved plans, we don't have a permit at this point. Our approved plans, the approval will expire mid-April this coming year. They will grant a one-time extension on those approved plans, and they're not going to cancel a seismic project. Say, no, it's been approved. I've been assured of that. But we do have to put in an application. If FEMA hasn't come through by April, we will have to, before April, we will write a letter stating, you know, why we can't. Because again, if we put one shovel into the ground, it cancels our ability to get FEMA grant. So, and I don't think HCI will have any problem at all working with us on waiting for the approval, as long as we are in the queue and in the approval process. So that's where that's at. On our administration building down here, obviously, you know, we've moved accounting and billing in, and we are working on Suite C for medical records. Trying to get that in some sort of semblance of workable situation.
Prep and stuff, because you put a lot of your storage and supplies and stuff in there, so you're cleaning all that stuff up.
Yeah, we've moved, most of our construction supplies, we've moved down to E, while we're working on C, just kind of cleaning it up and painting and things that we're doing so that we can move in with some modular type furniture stuff. So that is in process.
Have you looked at the lot next door? You, for 4 years now, you've been aiming to look at it.
Yeah, we find out who owns it and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
I
We're trying to
know,
reach
I
out
know
to
you
them.
found out.
Yeah.
We're gonna run into a parking problem.
We agree. Matter of fact, we just talked about that the other day.
Septic problem.
Yeah, right.
And so now would be the time to get it before somebody knows that we're in trouble and they have to have it.
Agreed, yeah. We're gonna reach out to them.
That's
Like I
you.
said,
You said we are. Who's we?
I will.
No, is there somebody else besides you?
I did the homework and found out who owns it.
Right.
Gave that information to Tim.
So I've got that. We'll make the call. Yeah. Try and nail
Will
that
you
down.
tell us at the next meeting?
Yes.
What they say?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Because, yeah, we've been watching, obviously, the number of cars that went down there just for the 2 suites that we've opened already. And we saw that, yeah,
Get close to
And-
more
capacity.
parking that we've
And,
ever
and we
had.
could eventually have a septic problem, and that would be a perfect spot to have a new septic.
Yeah. Where does that septic tank go now, Bob?
The septic tank is in the alley directly behind the building. Remember where we cut out the asphalt?
Yeah, did that wrap around the
It
corner?
it does not wrap around the corner. It certainly runs down.
The alley.
Well, to my knowledge, it only runs down the alley because we own the alley. That is our property.
But you were gonna, on the sign there, you were gonna look into them upgrading a sign or doing something with that sign.
Those big stuff, yeah.
You know, it's our building, it's our little town, and we need the image to be as good as it can be.
Right.
And it's an ugly
I
sign.
have placed signs on the windows so that now it tells people when it's suite A and B and
Counting.
in the business.
I'm talking about the bowling.
Yeah, that's what I know.
The
The
large
sign, I know that's what you, that we have not had time to address it.
Well, thank
Okay.
you.
Emergency generator, I've had 2 different crane companies here yesterday and today. Assessing, the first crane company did not have a large enough crane. Some of the switchgear has arrived and it has to be craned into the 2nd floor of the surgery building through the roof. And so it's gonna require a crane that can lift, 8,000 pounds out 68 feet and drop it into where it needs to go. So the second crane company that came out today looks like they can do it. It's probably not going to be scheduled for tomorrow, probably first of next week. We're going to drop the switchgear into the 2nd floor surgery. There's a big mechanical room there with a lot of space. And a lot of the gear is there, which will then feed down into the newer buildings and actually on around into the acute care for when we do the master project. Be fed out of the second floor of the surgery. So that equipment will be going in next week and they'll start hooking up all the conduits, start pulling all the wire. Then hopefully the last of the switchgear is going to arrive in November, in which case we can crane it into the yard and make all of the connections. We're still working with the county on the permit for the fuel lines, which has been a nightmare. We get the fuel hooked up, we get the wiring all hooked up, and then hopefully by first part of the year, we'll be firing up the generator. Do all the testing that's gonna be required to, we got a lot of areas, we gotta schedule big, large shutdowns where we're gonna kill the power to an area while we switch over from normal power to the emergency power to do gear. It's gonna be real interesting and challenging to do, but it's all doable.
Okay, the building,
Yes.
the skilled nursing was added on there after. Is that segregated from the rest of the electric?
No, all of the skilled nursing is fed electrically out of the dietary building. And that's why if you go on the back of the hospital, you'll see those conduits running across the surgery building and bridging through the sky and over into the dietary building. That is to put both dietary and skilled
So
nursing.
that's the main box for that section.
It's all fed out.
So if we had to lease that skilled nursing out to somebody who could operate it,
The utilities would all have to come from us.
okay,
Supplied by
so
us.
it couldn't be
Can't be separated.
segregated. Okay,
Cannot be. Everything is fed from the hospital buildings into skilled nursing. Doesn't mean you still couldn't do something like that. I'm just saying.
yeah, we just have to
It would have to
figure out
be,
how to
all the
measure.
utilities are supplied by the
Have to
hospital.
measure what was being used.
Yeah. But yes, it's, yeah, so anyway, the skilled nursing does not have any utilities going to it separately. Everything is fed out of the dietary building into the skilled nursing.
Okay, cool, thanks, Mike.
So that's where we're at on the generator project, and it's finally starting to come together. And Tim told you about the transfer switch that died on a Thursday morning. We got resolution by Friday. We had a truck drive to Reno, pick up the new transfer switch and drive it back over the weekend. And we installed it on Monday morning. So it was a challenge in a few days. But we made it through. So it would have been better if the generator had not gotten corrupted with the diff and injection system. But we still made it all work. Boiler number 2 replacement, the boilers are in, they are operating, they are heating the building. And the contractor has a couple minor things they have to do on the punch list. And that project will then we'll be closing that project with HVAC. Because they are in and functioning. They ran this morning before it got too warm, shut down. And it's all set up now to alternate between the 2 new ones and the 2 older ones each week. So that we put equal time onto them. We don't have any of them sitting idle. Equipment sitting idle is the hardest that you can be on, is sitting idle. So, but it is in and functioning. There's just a couple of minor things on fireproofing and the graphics on my computer need to be updated to show the new boilers. But I can already control them from my computer or my phone remotely. It's all working and functioning. So we're getting very close to closing that project. The MPC seismic upgrade in the dietary surgery in Central, that is still waiting. We've been trying to get a meeting with HGI to discuss what additional information they're wanting. Their comments on the review are very vague. So we're trying to get a meeting where we can pin down what they're actually wanting. And as the architect is trying to set a meeting. Dietary stove installation, everything's been approved, the plans are approved. The stove is ordered, I'm just waiting for the stove to arrive. We had a fairly long meeting with licensing and certification. They wanted to make sure that we were going to be able to, during this work, keep the kitchen clean, functional, operational, and still providing meals to all the residents and acute staff, our acute patients. So we assured them that how we could do that. So that was a meeting that Tiffany and I had with the state. So everything's on track. As soon as the stove arrives, get that installed. The skilled nursing building reclassification back to not, we don't want it to be, right now in Oshkosh, HKI's eyes, it is an acute care building, which it's not. It's a skilled nursing building, but they won't just change the classification on our say-so. That the research that I had to do on the seismic separations of utilities has been done. I have taken pictures and drawings, submitted all that to the architect. And so they are putting together a package that we will then sit down with HKI, determine if we meet all the criteria to reclassify that building. What it is because it's a lower level of classification. They're saying, well, in an earthquake, if that skilled nursing unit fell down on the ground, can you shut off the utilities to it? Or if there's just a seismic event, is there ability for the utilities to move in a way that they do not break, causing then the acute care buildings to lose heating or cooling water, that sort of thing. And exactly what happened at Ridgecrest as to why they had to move out of their newest building was because some of those systems failed in the earthquake. So I'm having to prove to the state have that ability for those buildings to move separately without damaging the systems, and that I have shutoffs for all the systems. In case it did fall down, I can go up there and valve every utility off, which we do have. It's there. So it just takes time to get them convinced that we are okay. And then they will reclassify the building. So that's been done. It's now, the architect is putting together a complete verbal description of everything with drawings to give to Oshline or HCOM. And we've started doing a few little things in the dietary area. We're kind of busy down at the admin building. A few other little projects. So kind of just started to pick up the pieces on that. Then I had a discussion about those old accordion doors that are really ugly and how we're going to, replace those with something better. Some things like that. So that's that report, unless there's any questions.
Yeah, the pharmacy, where's the pharmacy at? It's supposed to be permanently on the agenda for building planning. Until we get it resolved.
Okay, well,
And get
this
something done.
is simply a project update of projects currently going on, which is not the agenda for building a plan.
It will be on the
Okay.
agenda for building a plan.
Yes, it is on the agenda for building a plan. This is not the building a plan meeting.
Can you make comments? Oh, well, no, I guess you couldn't. Or can you?
Well, we are discussing, we have our manager of the pharmacy right here. We are discussing with her what might be the best solution for getting her some additional space.
Yeah, because people are sitting on top of each other.
It's a little snug in there.
Yeah.
Now that we got their new air conditioner on, that we got all this work out of there, at least have a little elbow room.
They're having to make those pills real small.
Yes.
But interim put something in place for them to be able to take on additional patients. We've been a lot of transfer from adding more staff, valuable recruiters. We've tried to make, the best of what we've got, so we can take on patients. That gives us enough time to do this, put an option, whether it's rebuilding, whether it's going to be an add-on. Whatever you do, you have to go through the licensing process before the pharmacy. So it's going to take time. We have to find a solution that's going to be.
Rite Aid right now is fighting back. They're trying to keep it customers and take them away from you. On the other,
Not because today we've had so many patients.
okay, when I said they're making an effort, that means they're gonna try. And they've got the money and they can work toward it. You guys are perfect and everything's good, and I'm not saying that you're doing something wrong.
As you can see in the financials, she's almost doubled her scripts.
Yeah, we want to keep it that way.
Rite Aid has almost doubled their scripts. So the amount of patients from over in Kernville kind of got split between the two of us.
Yeah.
And as people have gone back down to Rite Aid, they're finding out how difficult that is. And those are the ones that are trying to come back
Well,
over
they
here to
found
this
out
side.
they
of
got a passport store and they're gonna change it.
Right.
They're,
Yeah, we talked about that before, right?
They are refurbishing it, or they're doing something, so there might be something in the pipeline.
but what we wanna do is prepare to give her all to us.
We have actually just in the last couple of days have discussed how we can go about getting some more space.
Any other questions, sir? Ross?
No.
John?
I just have one, Bob.
Yes.
Diesel exhaust injection system, has that all been repaired by Quinn?
Yes.
So back up and running.
They were up that Monday morning and had it repaired by me. Yes.
Thank you. All right. All right, thank you. Number 4, action construction invoices. Everybody review those?
Yeah, did you have a lot this time?
Go ahead.
Yeah, we had Greenbow Design, the architect, a little bit on the Smith building reclassification. And the kitchen stove replacement. And then the EFI is our inspector, each time. And so this was, most of his inspection on the boiler project and some inspections on the electrical upgrade. And then there was one more Greenbow on the Geistig retrofit. That was fairly minor, if I remember, 44.6.
Motion to approve is presented by staff.
700.
Discussion?
Second.
Gene, you have any questions?
As the bills,
Yes, sir.
but indirectly, this Greenbrook. I've been on the board now, almost 6 years. And we get paid for more money, and we keep bringing them here, paying mileage and paying travel time. We're paying them. They're in San Francisco?
They don't come down here
No,
much.
no.
Well, they do, okay.
They come down about twice a year.
So,
I do, the reason that they're even willing to do a hospital this far away is if I do 90% of their on-site work and I send them all the information, so they don't have to come here.
so are we
Keeps our
paying
costs
them
down.
for your work too?
You're paying me for my work.
Okay. Okay, it just seems like there's gotta be a better way to do something more local.
I would love to hire a local architect. I have worked with all of the architects in Bakersfield. You have to understand, I've been doing construction in Bakersfield for hospitals for 30 years. And I have worked with all the architects. There's none there that I can recommend. Greenbow is head and shoulders more qualified and better than all of the firms in Bakersfield that do hospital work.
And you can't sole source it anyway. It has to be a very competitive selection process.
We need to give bids in there that,
And we brought in, for some of the outside stuff, we brought in other companies like for the building down the street here, and we did for the clinic and those. So we're trying to use the only one we're using them for is when it's Oshkosh work that we have because of the upgrades that have to be done. That's really all we're using.
And even to save money on the boiler project, since Train had used Red Ink Architects out of the Bay Area also, since they had already drawn a very similar set of plans for us, and I had to do that, and I contacted Greenbow, and he says, we would not be cost competitive for you because we would have to start from scratch. We cannot take Red Ink's other plans and duplicate them onto another sheet of paper. Whereas Red Ink can do it for a whole lot less money because they're just doing a mirror image of the ones they already did. So we do utilize, other architects when it's.
well, what aggravates me is when you got me to vote for the 1.3 million for Greenbow. It said, well, it's gonna be 9 stages. We're only gonna get the work done as the stages come along. I figured, well, what the heck, it might be 100,000 or whatever. Then
But their work is up.
next month you come back and says, well, we gotta have the whole thing.
Okay, so the architect that was being utilized when I first came here, if we had gone to them on drawing that plans, it would have been 1.8 million. They are known as the most expensive architect in the state of California.
Well, it's done. Thanks, I'm
So
sorry.
that's the whole point. The problem is that stuff all had to be done up front, so
Yes.
there's very little more that has to happen as once the construction started, and the construction phases will be.
We didn't know that when we first
Oh, yeah, of course.
contracted them.
Sure. Any
I
architect
wasn't
would
at
have
the
to do the same
meeting,
thing.
at the minutes of the meeting, that we're gonna do it in stages, we'll only pay it as we go along.
We are. The construction parts comes, that's what we will do in phases. That's correct.
Yeah.
But you have to design it because you've got to get the whole project approved by Oshkosh.
Plans have to show all the phases.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they won't get approved.
If that's said on these invoices, I got motion by Russ, second by John.
I'm just,
Vote?
yes.
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 Yeah, I mean, yes, thank you. Okay. Human resources. Page 47.
There is nothing that stands out. Can see from August of 2020 or August of 2023 and August 2024, not too much of a difference. There is, but there isn't as far as the turnover rate. The numbers have went up a little higher for this year than for last year, but the turnover rate is about the same or lower actually.
And a good portion of that is obviously associated with the students that graduated out of our program, which are actually out working in SNF. So, which is allowing us to slowly begin bringing up our census levels over there. So they worked out great.
Not two, 7 hires, 2 terminations. No, I actually did not get any fresh data from our workers' comp information to go up, but I don't believe that the numbers changed. I saw that we had the first aid, and so, but nothing as far as the workers' comp case opening.
Is she the one that is involved with maybe getting an assistant for Heidi, or is that something that we would?
I need to work out what the needs are right now before we can talk to it. But when we do that, then we'll obviously have to create a job description, bring it back to board TMP, and then we take it from there. So.
Any questions on that work?
That's all I have.
Thank you. Evaluation tracking.
This one here. We did work on, because we were having an issue where we were going back to the original hire date. So we just have to, from what we have here is what we had at the time. I believe most of this has been taken care of at this point. Just the new data that'll go on for next month. But it's shortened down, or I believe as far as getting out.
Still got some June, July, and August eval at the beginning.
Yeah.
They were not behind on our end, we leave it on the employees, so.
Yeah. Marks have been completed on there as well. So
Is there any, do you guys have a question on here specifically?
Do you have any questions on this report now? Us? I do. No, ma'am, we do not.
Okay.
Thank you.
That's lovely. That's right.
Gary, Dexter?
Page 50 shows our Nectar usage. So this it's the employee recognition system that we have. It shows the number of shout outs of individual recognition sent throughout the month, number of percentage of employees recognized, the percentage of users that are actually given recognition, as well as the managers. So it's just a graph of that, just for informational purposes.
Could we do some, Carrie, where we show month by month so we can show time how this is working? We're looking at a 1 month period of time. It's kind of hard to see, did it go up from last month or not?
I could do 2 pages to compare the month previous.
Yeah, or something, either just that or an ongoing report like a spreadsheet that kind of shows how many came in month to month. Just to kind of show.
Anything that'll help us showing the activity.
Right.
Writing it down.
Appreciate it.
Challenge I see with this spot is how I usually can't tell what
I print it.
Same line.
Mine's not.
The special people get color.
That's right.
You print your own, right?
Any questions for Carrie on this? Okay. Let's run through,
You guys are gonna hear a lot action in the next couple ones here.
sorry, go.
Here we go. The next is CER for telehealth camera upgrade.
Do we have a new form, a new capital budget request form?
Yeah, I made it. You like it?
7 pages on the budget.
Well,
It's 2 pages.
Yeah. Is it 2 or 1?
Two.
Oh, man, we got work to do still.
That's about as short as we got. I
Uh,
looked at a number of different samples, but it's most expert.
Can I make a suggestion?
I'd love to hear it.
Yeah, just add bid required, something about bidding, because for supplies, equipment and works, you have
Right.
separate bidding requirements.
Okay.
Yeah, there could be a checkbox up the top for that, yeah.
Yeah, just confirm, so everyone knows that it's been done.
Yeah. So the bid's required. There's different.
Like under
criteria.
project type or something like that.
Okay.
Right there.
And you know what, so it's in the contract policy, but we can talk about that.
Yeah, let me know what you want exactly.
I just think you should have a checkbox to show that you did,
Yeah, the bid, yeah.
but
So on
In
page
terms-
2, it does have the bids that we got, or 52 of the packet.
yeah, so there are, we can talk about what the
Yeah, well,
requirements are.
Yeah, let me know.
Yeah.
Okay, so what this is camera upgrades for primarily our clinic up there. So we have telehealth cameras that are used every single day. Those cameras currently have issues with like rotating, zooming. They're just really old. So this year for SHIP grant, we decided to use those funds to purchase new telehealth cameras up at the clinic. And then we're gonna get, I believe, 2 for hopeful use elsewhere throughout the facility, which is yet to be determined. Little talks about it, but we have to use all of those funds for SHIP grant. That's just part of the requirement. So we're going to use, what did I write here? SHIP grant provides $13,832, and the total amount that we're requesting for this entire upgrade is $13,995. So the actual cost to the district is a few $100, or $160.
Can I
So
make a
that's what it
motion
is.
to approve that?
Before you,
Oh.
I have a question I wanted. Did you review this with Greg?
Yeah, Greg and
And Miranda?
Yep.
Yeah, because I know, like I said, when I was up there, I had a televisit the other day, and they were just using an iPad type thing.
this is what's still, if you're
Greg.
talking to Greg, you're gonna use an iPad.
Right,
If you're talking to some of the other telehealth services,
yeah.
that's what you're gonna use is this.
So that's why I was curious whether or not we wanted to continue, maybe just do them all via that or not, or whatever. It's probably. I know, that's what I'm asking.
Yeah.
If
We
he's
could
involved.
discuss it. We could certainly send one of these cameras to Greg and get him a whole setup there, but that's what would be required in order to use these nicer cameras to have telehealth services with Greg.
No, I was going the other way. I was
I
gonna do it more with the tablet,
Oh.
like that, so.
Uh,
Cause I know with
There-
UCLA and stuff like that, I use my
totally fine. But it's
computers at home.
important to think about what these are typically used for, which is site visits.
Right.
So I think a camera in that case that's out of the patient's hands might be the most appropriate.
That's why I just was curious whether or not you'd spoken with him about that. He was good with this. That's fine. If he's good with that.
So anyway, that's what it is.
Okay.
Any questions?
Make a motion and we approve that. There's a couple of them, right?
Yeah, there's 5
One at a time, or,
altogether.
hey, I looked at all, I'm good with all of them. I make a motion that we approve what.
So there's no contracting or anything that goes along with these, it was just strictly camera purchase.
Just camera. There's a couple, if you look on page 53, there's the quote, there's a stand for one of them that we're gonna use because of how it's gonna be mounted, but that's about it.
There's no usage fees for this, though.
Correct. Yeah, we're just buying the hardware. And the way that we worked it out with our existing providers, this is just basically an upgrade over what we currently have. And the way it works is just through a bunch of different firewall rules that they're able to dial in and we're able to dial out to the specific camera.
And I believe all those providers bill their own services, right?
how they do the billing for the provider, but
No, no.
So we do bill for those?
Yes.
Okay.
Question on the proposal. We only have the one bid. This is like a sole source, or is there a reason why we're not?
this is our primary company that we purchase IT equipment through. And we were trying to get it to a certain dollar amount because we have to use all of the funds. And so we did that within about $165.
This is all to get it through SHIP grant, correct? SHIP grant, so.
Yep, that's a SHIP grant requirement that we have to use all those funds.
If you don't use all of it, you lose it.
Yep.
So what are you saying? They increased the price so we?
They did not increase the price. They actually decreased it some.
Dropped it to
Get it as close to that number as possible.
Okay, all right. All right.
I see why you would. No, we didn't.
Well, where did we go on this?
this?
And the question is still a good question, because like I said, the question is, because like I said, we can certainly say that you got other bids for these, and here's what they are. This is the one we're choosing, obviously, because it helps meet the grant requirements and stuff like that, so.
Okay.
I mean, obviously, we're still required to do 3 bids, so.
It's under 25,000, so you don't have to bid this. It supplies and equipment is 25,000 and more.
So 25,000.
End of my question.
I should have said that.
John, but what's the extra? So I got G.
But the motion is.
Second.
Aye, sir. Yes.
Yes.
I'm a yes. All right, thank you. Thank you. All right.
You guys ready for me again?
Just
Here we go. I just wanted to keep track. So far, we've only spent $150.
Something tells me you're low past that.
Okay, so we meet weekly for a committee called Process Improvement. Through that committee, we identified a process that needs improving for charges with our clinics EMR and how the charges are entered on there, and then a manual process that's currently taking place where they're entering all this stuff in that system, and then somebody else is spending many, many hours doing the exact same thing to enter those charges into our main system where all our financials are. So this is an interface that will do all of that for us. So how it will work is the admission process will take place in our primary EHR, which is CPSI, now TrueBridge. That will admit that patient into the clinic's EMR. From there, that we have that sync between those account numbers. They can add charges through the note just as they normally would, and then those charges will automatically cross over into CPSI where they're currently being entered manually. And it's going to have very little human intervention anymore.
When you do it manually, you have a big potential for errors too, as you said. The more you do, the more,
Sure.
of course.
And it's redundant too, because you're doing it twice. Greg, are you on? Greg did some math on this to figure out like how many hours this would kind of be recouped within you. I don't remember what you said, Greg. I should have put it on here.
So I think before, the price did go up a little bit. Before that, it was looking like about 160 hours of time before we'd meet our return on investment. So it's probably around, 210 hours. So, and it's a one-time thing. There's not maintenance fees that go along with that. So I think within 6 months, it's probably paying for itself. The other thing that we're finding happens sometimes is sometimes a charge sheet will be generated before the patient leaves, or a charge sheet will be generated temporarily to allow orders for labs and x-rays so the patient can take them. And sometimes those charges have gone through. So the claim actually gets billed, and then a new charge sheet will come out that has additional charges on it. And not even necessarily additional charges, but different codes that we're reporting to different payers. So this will help correct that problem as well.
So I do have 2 budgetary quotes on here. There's only 2 because those are the 2 vendors we have to work with on this. We have to work with EMDs, the EMR, and we have to work with TrueBridge, the EMR down here. And there are a few maintenance fees with this that are associated. It's like $107 a month, the maintenance fees.
So these 2 vendors on page 56,
Mhm.
that little, table.
Yeah.
They're the same project, so these aren't separate bids.
No, it's the same. I didn't know how else to put it in there. It is the
Okay.
same project,
All right.
but we
On
need
that
both of
12-page
those.
document, we'd have been able to.
I'm sure we could have done it on the 12-page document.
Okay, so that was just confusing me. So we need both of these.
We need both.
Okay.
You're showing the only monthly reoccurring is 145.64.
No, there's a monthly reoccurring on the True Bridge side as well of 122. That's on the bottom of page 60,
Center of page.
center of page 60, yeah.
I see it. Okay.
And that says 10,000, but then you can see on the other side that there's $5,000 discount because we already have a portion of this in place for something else that's going on.
So, Gene, you got any questions?
No,
Motion to approve.
I'll second. You need a second.
Your vote, sir?
Yes.
Yes.
Mr. Blake?
Yes.
Yes.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Rachel. Right. Sir, do you want to ask if there was any public comment?
I could. Good recommendation. That's why I keep you here. Any comments?
You know what that one sentence just cost us?
Yeah.
Letters alone cost me drastically.
Yes, we need a CEO for that.
Gonna get it.
Did we just vote on replacing Carrie with AI?
Yes. Good, there's a look.
No, I tried my best, guys.
All right, I don't mind. Thank you, Karen.
Thanks, guys.
Okay. Item 10, CER. John, this one's for you.
Yes, this is for a charge master review and price transparency consulting. It's for many new regulations. We haven't had a charge master review in probably 6 or 7 years. So the charge master is basically where everything starts as far as charging. It's got all a list of all our services that we provide with the charge number and a CPT code on it and a price. So that's where the doctors, it's where they get everything. But anyway, we got 3 bids. 2 of the bids were similar. And the one from True Bridge was only partly, so you're really not comparing apples and apples there. The reason that we are recommending Coral Health is that they did it before. They were known as PARA back then. And they are more experienced in this type of work than Whitley is. Whitley is kind of all encompassing. They do everything, any type of consulting that you would want. But I think Coral Health is better to do this. That's what we're recommending that. The price is pretty close. It's actually cheaper than
Which is around,
46.8.
63.
have we had any problems with what's required with the service we've been provided with Whitley? Is that what,
No, Whitley hasn't been providing this service.
who has?
Coral Health has
Okay.
already. They've already been a part of this. I've worked with Coral Health over the years, many times, different hospitals, and they always providing it.
Oh,
So we
for
haven't had
35
any
years.
issues.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're 35 years. If they
Yeah,
were,
so they are
they've been
number
around
one
forever.
in this particular thing. They're probably the best company you can have.
What's the problem with True Bridge? At least the price wise in the black and white's significantly less.
They're
So
only doing about a third of the work.
is that
They-
it?
They aren't able. Yeah, the other problem with True Bridge is they'd be auditing themselves because they're the charge masters in True Bridge. So they're kind of a conflict of interest
I
almost.
see.
And they can't provide all the services that we need for this particular regulation.
All right.
So let me understand what they're doing. With all of our services, there's a price for it. We have to list them. Are we in any jeopardy of a lawsuit? They're not performing properly.
What do you mean by performing properly?
Not putting the correct prices that we're charging.
Well, so you set the prices, right? And you have to post it under the transparency laws. There isn't quote unquote a correct price. There's a market price.
Okay.
So your concern is that you're not keeping up with the market price and you're undercharging.
Can we get in trouble with this?
No.
Okay.
What we're gonna do is get the hospitals around this area, compare our prices with them and make sure that we're in the ballpark. That's another thing. That's for competitive reasons also. But also we're gonna be able to provide a estimate of what's gonna cost somebody. That's a,
I just wanted to say that with Coral Health, you're getting, they're gonna do 100 chart audit, like checking various codes. on top of doing our charge master review. And so within the community, we have a lot of patients who complain that our charges are too high. So this is going to be another opportunity for us to kind of, do we need to decrease our prices or do they need to stay the same?
People are always complaining that the prices are too high, but now we can say, hey,
Yeah, they're
you even go to this hospital, they're a little bit higher than us.
Right, yeah.
Well,
And also,
I
we're
can imagine anybody using it to start with. But because the insurance would be the one that
Correct.
people don't care.
It's not what
I
you
know,
pay, right?
convert that
I
gets
know, but they look at our bill and say, look what you're charging my insurance company. People complain about
But not
that.
only that, the higher the charges and the patient has a deductible co-insurance, the more out of pocket they're gonna have to pay because our prices are up.
This is also, like she said, they're gonna take 100 charts and they're gonna look at, make sure that we're catching all our revenue and getting paid for everything.
That's big.
Yeah.
I mean, our coding department does a good job, don't get me wrong, but there's always good to have an outside person look at it.
What is the time frame for having it done?
I'm sorry?
What's the time frame?
We're gonna start tomorrow. I was just waiting for the board to approve it. They're chopping at the bit to get started right now, so we just need to let them into the system and then they're gonna start. And it'll be done within a month.
I make a motion, we accept the one you're recommending.
So, yeah, like I said, the only statement I had on was I find it interesting, two of you are going to Alabama to a True Bridge conference, but lacking the confidence in them because they're doing.
Well, the confidence is, it's just, they can't bid on all of the services that they're gonna provide. I mean, we're a part of that client advisory council with CPSI. That's what they're going for, that annual.
True Bridge is CPSI.
Yeah.
They have changed their name
Yeah,
twice.
they're called True Bridge. This week.
They were,
Yeah, right.
decided that they were evident, now they're.
And what we're gonna do is try to make recommendations to approve the product too. That's the main reason we're going.
Okay.
Hopefully it's got some problems on CPSI, but they're probably the best for our particular hospital in size.
But forgive me, Gene made a motion. Have a second? I expected. John?
Brenda does have her hand up. I don't know if she wants to say something.
Brenda has her hand up too.
I don't know what that means.
That works.
She has a question.
Brenda?
And,
I had to find the mic, sorry. Sally Emery and I for Health Information Management and for the coding portion is very excited about this. We have not had a coding review in quite some time. So we welcome this.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Just a question on, you're providing this information to us on a capital project form, which is fine. But typically, wouldn't we have some kind of RFP for something like this?
Good.
We did?
there. 6 right.
Okay.
It's just.
No.
Too much paper.
I just wondered how we got
I've
here.
got it right here. I've got 3 bids and,
Okay,
you know, their presentations are all 30 and everything. It's almost too much.
okay.
For your leisurely reading.
Yeah.
That's what my question was, is did we go through that process?
Oh, yes. They give us a note, PowerPoint presentation.
Okay,
Everything.
all right.
Too much.
Great.
I just want to see the price of what you do. I don't need other pretty stuff.
Thank you.
Normally, we'll try to do along with in the future with these new, to get CER forms, is to have that attachment to it. But like I said, this was such a huge,
Yeah,
literally double the size of our packet.
Right.
So.
And we would have covered this at the finance meeting.
yeah, and I don't need to see it or read it. I just was making sure we went through that process.
Yeah.
Good. Do you need a motion? Or we have one?
You need a motion. John made the second.
Okay, thank
Your
you.
vote, sir?
We're gonna ask the public if they want to comment?
No.
Yes.
Just want to ask the public. I only wanted to ask Brenda and everybody else because they're the ones so happy about this. If anyone from the public has anything to say or questions on this,
I think it's awesome.
that's all that matters.
Yeah.
All right. Vote, sir.
Yes.
John left us for a minute, but he wrote yes, so I could show it to everybody.
Yes.
And I'm a yes. Got your guesses.
Thank you.
Well, I gotta get it to me for signature. All right. For signature.
Or an emergency audit.
So there's the skilled nursing facility has a transport van that they use to take residents down to appointments in Bakersfield.
Okay.
This van has roughly 200,000 miles on it.
Okay.
We just replaced a transmission to the tune of about $3,000. A engine light came on. There's a problem with the valve train in the motor.
Okay.
So we had Kevin evaluate that down the street to find out what that was, if it was a simple fix or if it was a bigger than simple fix. So what he came up with is we could do a couple of things. We could replace the cylinder head gasket and have the valve train reworked for about $3,500, but that only addresses the top end of the motor. Correct. The bottom end of the motor still has 200,000 miles on it. The second quote was to actually replace the engine in this vehicle. By the way, that $3,500 bid would take about 3 to 4 weeks to complete. We need that thing in service as soon as possible because we do have residents that need to go down.
We're bumping our transfers in order to take.
Our transports outside, our regular transport vehicle to make some of these things happen. The second bid was for a brand new Dodge motor for that Dodge transport van to be put in. He can do it in about a week. It's $8,600. The $3,500 option has a 12-month, 12,000 mile warranty. The $8,600 warranty is 3 years or 100,000 miles. The way we use vehicles around here.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
Is that a crate motor or?
It's a crate motor.
Thank you.
Did you get a bid from the dealership?
I did not.
You should.
Okay. Can certainly do that.
It's likely gonna be cheaper.
But this-
Expensive.
This is
So
an emergency.
that's gonna take us that's gonna take a while to get that bid.
Well, you need the thing right away. Why
We
don't
do
you
need
just,
the thing
for
right
the money
away.
you're spending, just get a new van?
It's a 2015.
So
Working on that.
we're working on
Explain that
that.
in finance committee. Yeah.
But at the next finance committee. So there's some things in the works with grant funding and things like that where we're trying to get another van. This is a situation where we have residents who have appointments and we're struggling to meet that need.
How much would it cost to rent one?
A transport van with a wheelchair ramp? Don't know.
I don't know if you could get one.
Don't know if you could get one.
It has to be able to transport 2 wheelchairs.
And we still have need for this, even if we got another vehicle. This one's gonna replace
But
somebody else.
even a good slightly used one. Have you checked, John, what would be 50, 60,000?
They're
60 to it is, this unit's a 2015 van, correct?
Yeah.
She's still got life.
She does, yeah.
I believe it's a worthwhile investment. I would do it myself. We just put $3,000 into the transmission to have it replaced or remanufactured. So I think we'll get a lot of life still in this thing.
So your recommendation is the new motor, more
Yes, sir.
expensive option?
Right.
Yes, sir. With the warranty alone, it makes sense to me.
Okay.
These are all chargeable visits. We're going to get people to bring to our hospital to charge them for visits.
Huh.
So it's going to pay for itself eventually.
I don't disagree. Fortunately, you have maintenance. It needs to happen. Things are going to happen. It's mechanical. It's going to work.
Okay, how about at least getting a local, 2 other bids locally? That garage is a Trans-Am.
Transcend, I can reach out to.
Van Gibson. They're all 3 very capable.
Okay. I have one bid and I don't know how long it'll take to get those bids,
But
but
they should.
But apparently,
The question I have, Scott, is this: if we don't make a decision on this today, and this needs to be rushed, is this something that could be done with an okay via email? We have to expedite it.
You can't do that. What you can do is authorize it like with a not to exceed.
Right, or authorize at his discretion.
And if we can get it cheaper.
The best deal.
Yeah, but so if you're looking for the cheapest deal, you could say he can spend up to the amount of this quote.
See, and that's where you need to be cautious as well, because getting a cheap deal doesn't mean you get the same warranty that goes with the.
So the other thing is you could do is in the best interest of the district and authorize a fixed amount.
So let me just say this, the vehicle is at Kevin's shop right now with parts on the ground.
Yeah, so you'll have some labor for dismantling.
There would be a question of whether he would put it back together and we could tow it to another shop if we got a different bid. I mean, that would have to happen. And I'm sure he would charge us for a dismount.
Well, and you don't have to look at it again. The other shops can tell you from what his bid is, what they would charge.
But don't show his bid.
Don't show it in this bid.
No.
Yeah.
No,
Because they'll underbid it.
You can't shop it.
The key to it is you want someone that's gonna give you the same warranty with a crate.
Right.
That's simple forever.
And in the timing too. I mean, we need it right away. It's a
Yeah.
week.
Well,
Because Kevin's gonna-
those guys
Doesn't
can
hurt to
do
make
it
the call.
in a couple hours. So,
I'll make a
you
phone
know,
call tomorrow.
Okay, I'll make.
Or Bob, you can.
Then make motion to approve it, subject to.
Yeah, for the dollar amount that Mark has recommended, not to exceed that amount. And get the other bids, with the same warranty. Determine what their warranty offers are.
Right. So the crate motor is coming from Dodge, so it's gonna be the same. It's not Kevin's warranty. It's.
Oh, I see.
It's the
I see.
Dodge
Okay.
warranty for that motor.
Okay.
That's important.
Okay, cool.
Second,
Did I make the motion to start with? Who made it?
Ross did.
Ross did.
Yes.
Then I'll second the way he changed it.
Okay, John?
Yes.
Yes. Steve?
Yes.
I'm a yes. Make it happen. Okay. All right.
If you write that down. Thank you.
Item H, director's comments not appearing on agenda. Sir?
Thank for your patience, everyone. I'd like to know. The finance guy is sitting there. He's charging by the word now. So I asked him a question. And his answer was, and I feel like I should pay for it. It's help keeping you out of prison. And so.
You?
Yeah, me.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So I should have to pay for that advice, right?
Great. I'll send you a sheet.
Yeah,
Available.
I'll
Then-
carve
then-
it out.
That's all. Thank you so much. Patience with me.
Shirley?
I don't have any. Thank you.
No, just, good luck to everybody running in the election.
Yeah.
Coming up. And in the future, of course, I guess this determines if I get reelected or not, but, yeah, if we could try to have the committee meeting, this makes a very, very long meeting.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't know if I'll be able to stay through all of closed session action, but just,
You'll get
Just left
reelected.
it.
You'll get reelected.
no, I'm dead last. On the ballot.
You'll get.
Only thing
It
I
also says incumbent next year.
Debbie didn't send out an email to me. She's in trouble. Valerie needs candy for our residents. So I brought in 5 bags of candy for the residents. Whoever wants to pitch in a little bit more,
I bought a big, huge bag of it.
let's just
Yeah.
make it good. Let's make it.
They enjoy that stuff.
I did deliver it.
No, you did.
Yes, it's a.
Well, you delivered my bag of stuff.
Yeah.
Yes.
Good. Thank you for that. All right. But I have no other comments. Thank you, everyone. Thank you all for being here. And we're going to go into closed session.
Hey Debbie, when did that happen? Is it a Halloween thing?
It's a Halloween.
Okay.
Floor is yours.
Yeah, so in closed session, council and the board discussed Rostad, and the board gave certain direction to council regarding that matter. Council updated the board on the status of Vincent and Volkava. No other items were discussed.
That's it, everybody. Thank you. We're adjourned.
Thank you.
Just like that.
Just like that.